Hi everyone, I'm Ryan. Welcome back to my garage. This week, predominantly, I'm going to be working on the carbs. I've got all the rebuild kits. I've got some replacement bolts, so we'll get onto that next and see if we can get that cleaned up and rebuilt. Made some progress on the front end here. So the task of swapping the XL to XL front end to fit the CB frame, I've located someone locally, a precision engineer who I believe will and can sort this for me. The person I specifically need is on holiday for another week, but I've had conversations with his colleagues and with the business, and that sounds highly optimistic. So fingers crossed, we get a solution there. Right, let's get on with what I can do now. Okay, the postman cometh, and he's delivered a pair of carb rebuild kits. So these are the right ones for my carburetors, and you can see they've got all the gaskets, all the jets. That should be everything I need to actually get these carburetors back to a usable state. So we're going to get on and get all that fitted. In addition to the rebuild kits, I've also gone and bought myself a large selection of small nuts and bolts, so that I can use to find some replacements for these shredded screws that hold the float bowl in place, because they're just absolutely shot. So we'll find something that matches those, and then we just need to get on with the cleanup, because I mean these are still disgusting. But I've also bought a load of carb cleaner, so I think that little toothbrush, I've got one here, I'll dig that out in a moment, and we're just going to give that a good clean up and a rebuild. Once that's done, I've also bought myself a nice tub of engine oil, so hopefully we can get the carbs on, we can get some oil in the engine, then we can look at the electrics, and hopefully we get a fire. Woo! Right, let's get started. Right, we'll start by replacing these, and as you can see I've got a complete set of small bolts, so I reckon something like that. There you go, that looks like a good match. Check that fits the carb. Yep, thread matches, length pretty close enough. 18, yep, that'll do the job. Right, 6 of those, and that'll be much better. Start by trying to strip these down. See if we can get these old gaskets out. They are completely shot. There we go. They are rock solid. No wonder they weren't sealing. Completely flat. Right, let's just make sure before we proceed. Check these replacements are correct. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be fine. Interestingly, they step up slightly at the bottom. Yeah, anyway, they're going to be alright. Right, let's move forward. See if we can get all this cleaned off. Oh, it just comes off with your fingers. That's not going to be a challenge. Now, what's best to get that off? Let's try some carb cleaner. That's lifting off all right. It's dissolving it, a bit slow, but there's no rush. I won't make you watch that. Just persevere. Bit of cleaner. We'll see if we can get those clean. Okay, that's the first clean up. It's better, not good enough yet. But if we compare that with the before, we can see that's a bit different. Right, let's see if we can get them both to this state, and then I'm going to try and soak them to get the last bits out. Okay, well, I think they're largely clean enough. There's still a little bit in the base of this that I'm really struggling to get to, but it's certainly nothing is going to come loose, nothing's going to block any jets. Right, let's move on to the body, I think, for now. Let's see if we can get these strips. Oh, there you go. Okay. A lot of rubbish in there. So much of this red gasket material everywhere. It's everywhere. That. I need to get all this off. Because that will block every jet in seconds if that gets inside. And it seems to have put copious amounts on it everywhere. So let me just work all that rubbish. Let me just work all that off. Make sure it's all gone. And then we'll work on cleaning the body and rebuilding it. Someone did have a felt date. Right, let's just keep picking away. There's the halfway point. Left hand side cleaned up. Right hand side, no. It takes about 30 minutes, 35 minutes to clean up all that rubbish off the left. This is slow going. Oh well, it's necessary. So let's keep carrying on. Okay, that's all the gasket rubbish off. Right. Let's slowly start changing some parts and reassembly. These have cleaned up all right. That's not polished, that's literally just cleaned up, just with a bit of wire wool and a bit of a Scotch-Brite. But yeah, they're okay, and they're all nice and clear. So the passage which runs deep inside there is nice and not blocked. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with the build. Upsettingly, the kit that I bought, that I felt confident was right, is missing just the main jet. Just the main jet. So I've taken the ones I got, which are certainly complete, and I'm just giving them a good bath in vinegar and cleaning them up that way. So we'll leave those overnight and we'll come back to those tomorrow. Other than that though, it's going back together okay. So that's probably about as much as I can achieve tonight. I mean, there's a few more things I can assemble, but that'll do for now. Well, it's the next morning, and these sat in vinegar overnight, and then I've just cleaned them up, and they're looking alright. They're looking fine, nice and clean, nice and clear. I can turn all that. Here we go, and all the holes look good. So I think they are quite usable, and the main jets themselves. There we go. You can see that. Yeah, there's one. And this is difficult to show on the camera, but come on, where is it? No, there. No, there. That's clear. Trying to get the angle right to show. There we go. They're good. Right, let's try rebuilding it. Okay, so that's that side reassembled. Now let's do this one. First thing I need to do is to push out that in there. So that little jet there. Let's just push. Come on. Little tappy tap tap. So there we are. That opening there. Now clear. That's the old one that came out. So now we get a nice replacement. And that goes in that way up. So that I think goes back in there now. That should go down nicely. And then the main jet in the top. Now, new little jet goes in there. Make sure all these are just tweaked up. Not particularly tight, just enough. Now I need the float and a new one of these. That hooks just on there, drops in that. Come on. And that little pin just slides back across. There we go. Okay, now that's the bottom end rebuilt, gasket on and float bowls. Okay, get the next one on. So I've put smallest little tiny bits of sealant, which is a petrol resistant sealant, just to hold the gasket in place, nothing more than that. So I can now manoeuvre it, and the gasket actually stays in the correct channel, because otherwise, there you go, I was finding it just jumps out. Now we can drop the nice new screws in. 1, 2, 3. And that's the bottom end done. So now, just a little tweak on these. I think tight, I think hard, just after sill. Okay. Okay, so we got mixture, spring, metal washer, and new little rubber and then that, if I hold it upside down, that should now gently offer in. Yep. And apparently I run this all the way in. Yep. And then back it out 2 turns. So that's half, 1, 1.5, 2. Right. That should be about right. Move to the top. Yeah, so new needles, new cap screws. That drops in there. That drops in there. And we just gently do that up. Yep. That's loose but held in place. And then this rubber cap goes in the top. Bit of a clean up. Make sure I've got nothing on these sides because that would cause a problem. And that's ready to go back in. Do the same on the other. Just trying to make sure all these passageways are nice and clean. Don't want anything up this side of the carb causing me any complications. Thank you very much. And to be fair, this all looks pretty clear, so I don't think this is particularly an issue. But we'll just make sure. What's that? What is that? Oh, it's just a bit of paper. That's just me. I'll make sure I don't leave that in a minute. And then we'll replace these. Put them back in place carefully, making sure these are good. So I'm not going to change these. I'm really confused exactly what purpose they serve, but I'm sure they do serve a purpose, and so I will very much be retaining them. They don't seem to cap anything, they don't seem to move. It's just a piece of my understanding that I haven't yet got. If anyone wants to tell me what these do, please feel free. Okay. Alright, so making sure we get these sealant in there, line that up with that gap over that line there. There we go. Okay, right, next. Let me just double check this. Yeah, I think I got a replacement gasket for there. So let me change those. It must be important. Right, 1 second. Yeah, the kit included these little gaskets. So yeah, we'll put those on that and make sure that seals up nicely in there. Cool. Okay. And making sure these are all nice and clean. Don't think that's got a particular right and wrong way. That should just sit there. Cool. And then we just clean the heads of these screws up, but they'll just Hold that in place. Okay, that's back on. So that's a service of those carbs completed. Now, they could do with a clean up externally, and I can continue to do that at my leisure and in the warm. But that should now be a working set of carbs. So I think what I'm going to do, the next opportunity I get, is probably to fit those onto the Super Dream over there, because that's a running bike. So if I put these on, I can prove these were a working component. Then I know I'm giving this engine the best possible opportunity. Right, okay, that's me out of time for today. I've got family here now, so I need to dive out. But that's one more task completed. Thank you very much for all of you who are supporting me with this effort. Really do appreciate it. So you know, please do like and subscribe. Give me all the encouragement you can to continue, because this is looking really daunting to me now. But I'm going to keep pushing ahead. I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes, but hey, that's the only way to learn, isn't it? Thanks very much. See you soon.